We met decades and decades ago.
Nearly 40 years ago, in fact. I know we don't look that old.
No, I know. We were kind of 18, and we were at separate universities, and we met at a student political conference at this wonderful place called Swinton Castle. Anyway, there were about... actually, there were lots of budding politicos there, and I looked across the crowded room, and I saw this thing he had big, black, bushy sideburns, and I thought to myself, that'll do for the weekend.
It's been a very long weekend.
Very long weekend. And I have to tell you, also at the conference was Anne Widdecombe.
Yes. So if I'd played my cards differently, then the course of history might have been very different from what's turned out, isn't it?
I might have been the Member of Parliament for Maidstone, and she might have been Mrs Neil Hamilton.
Yes.
We courted for about 3 years, didn't we? Separate universities and all. We met up at all sorts.
Then I was unceremoniously dumped. Women are terribly cruel creatures, as you know. And this one is no exception. So I was then cast into the abyss of bottomless darkness, and while she went off to the bright lights and do a bit of gold digging in London.
I was already at the bright lights, that's the whole point. He spent 3 years at university. He did 8 years. He did 3 degrees, for goodness sake. I just did my 1. I came trotting to London. I working at the House of Commons, palace of my dreams. It was wonderful. And he was then doing the 2nd of these degrees. He was stuck on the mid-Wales coast. It was a day's journey from London then, and it still is now. And I was 21, and I was London life. I got my little flat, and everything was wonderful.
It was swinging London.
It was.
In those days.
And frightfully important people like members of Parliament, you gods and little fishes, demigods, inviting me out for dinner. And I thought, what's the point in having a boyfriend who's got no grant? He'd finished his grant, his father had cast him off, hundreds of miles away. I thought, sod this for a lark. Halfway through the sort of time when we weren't together, we got on exchanging Christmas cards, and he invited me out for lunch at a place called the Gay Hussar in Soho, which is a great left-wing haunt. I assumed that because he'd taken me to the Gay Hussar that he could afford it. Honestly, he spent about 3 months student grant, and you couldn't afford...
No, I wasn't a student then.
And you didn't get anything really, that was that. I just said, thank you very much, nice to see you. And then we toddled on.
Anyway, what I did get in return was an offer to reciprocate, that she would do dinner in her flat at some stage. Anyway, so 3 years later, I arranged to come around to a little flat several floors below here. And so I turned up on the 17th of February 1978, and I've been here ever since.
Neil's proposal, good heavens. I've never had one. Still waiting. No, I told him we were getting married.
It was a great shock to me when Christine told us we were getting married.
It wasn't at all. You're quite wrong. It wasn't a shock at all. I'll tell you what happened.
It was a shock to the system when I realised it wasn't just talk.
The crucial moment came because we were running up to a general election, which became the 1983 general election. And I knew, and he knew, that in order to get a safe seat, which is what he wanted then, it was much better to have a fiancée than just to have a girlfriend. We got married on the 4th of June 1983, which was 5 days before the general election, and that is his fault. Well, because he was fighting a seat...
My fault. It was Margaret Thatcher's fault. She called the election.
She did, you're quite right. But we had to drive from Cheshire down to Cornwall on the Friday. We got married on the Saturday afternoon, and we had to be back in the constituency in Cheshire by lunchtime on Sunday. So
it's a 6 or 7 hour drive.
Guess where we spent our wedding night? The Exeter Crest Motor Lodge Hotel in single beds. And I never had a honeymoon. We were going to Venice, and I have still never been to Venice. It was a very simple wedding. I'll tell you what was lovely about it. Because we'd known each other such a long time, a lot of people came into the church and they honestly didn't know which side to sit on, because we were just Neil and Christine. And since Neil left politics, or politics left him, 10 years ago now, we really had no idea what we were going to do. And our motto in life is, if it's legal, honest and faintly decent, we're up for it. To be honest, all the old cliches, it's give and take, you know, with emphasis on the give. Putting the other one first, it's as simple as that. It sounds so simple when I say it, doesn't it? I must try it sometime.